Did you sign all the bills, Tom?
Yes.
Everything's signed.
I was gonna say, I'll put it all down here.
Yeah,
for-
I did.
Yeah, okay. Now, where's the agenda?
Changing one of these ones.
Yep,
Which one?
Right here.
back page.
There it is.
I think I got two left back pages anyway. So this one we're getting rid of, oh, what are you making, a whole new packet?
No, just the back page.
Just the back
was-
page?
We signed the abatements and that?
I think both of my back
They're
pages
all
were the
over
same
there.
anyway.
Okay.
2016, yep, they were right.
Um,
All right, that it?
Yep.
are we gonna discuss the Ash Street bills? She isn't here, so.
She's not here, that's up to you.
Tom, that they read that meter, or they got the reading, I don't know if you heard it.
Yeah, it wasn't much,
It wasn't much, so it was $170 or something,
just for that one incident, or for the
No, the
whole?
whole bill,
the whole bill.
170?
yeah. Well, she has a pool, you know,
It's not
How
that.
do we leave it with?
we were gonna wait
We will
until
wait
I
to see
got
the
the
bill.
reading,
Right.
and then she's gonna come.
And it's, I think it's within what she was normally paying
It
anyway.
is, yeah.
So, well, I make a motion to table it until, if she unless she brings it up again.
Yep. That's fine.
I don't know what we could do for her, but we'll just leave it kind of in limbo. I guess the rest of it, we have to wait till Art gets here. Terry, you want to pull this away from me?
Yeah,
If you, oh, I thought you were going that
that's
way.
fine.
Did Art forget the meeting?
Yeah, we thought it was next week.
That's what I figured.
Tuesday.
Because he's usually here on time. I was ready to come yesterday. So that first year, when you didn't bring in that much on those tie-in fees, so we're in the hole, 290,000.
Yeah.
I almost wipes out that.
Yeah, that first year was a huge number too. I don't know whether you combined like two payments or.
He must have.
It's almost 5 times what the regular number is.
He must have been carrying everything on bands
Yep.
and then paid the whole thing up at once.
Yeah, it would be nice if we knew.
Yeah. Hey Wayne, can you get this electronically?
Yeah.
What was that line that's going away, Wayne? Transfer trust agency funds?
Nobody knows what that is.
I don't feel so bad. No, just something that's been there long?
Yeah, as far as David said that in the time that he's been here, that line's never been funded. I don't know whether it was something for,
I never saw that, it was never in there. I remember it never in there when I was here.
I've always seen it, but I had no, I just figured maybe they transferred.
I think it had something to do with John when he was building the
I
tank
think it had to do with John.
with his bank, and he was probably gonna try to build something off to us for short-term notes or something, you know?
I saw a truck come down the hill, so.
How's everything else going?
Well, we'll get to that. You could have at least brought pizza.
Should have asked. That'd have been another half an hour.
We already started the meeting, we already accepted the minutes. We already signed the bills, so you can kind of catch up there.
Right.
Okay. Let's see, who's next on the agenda, I guess.
Driscoll Engineering.
Yeah. Who is it?
Driscoll Engineering.
Okay. Would you like to come on up here and
Sure. My name is Josh, by the way. So, we submitted this site plan to conservation. There's wetlands in the back down here.
so where's this, on Manley Street?
On Main
Yeah.
Street.
Old Speedia property.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
There's
Yeah,
a-
they're all up there clearing right
Yeah,
now.
existing house and the barn. So there's doesn't show anywhere. I believe we determined it's a 3/4 inch line that services both of these, the house and the barn. And he's looking,
Is that line way out here by the street, you think, or
No, it pretty much makes a beeline. That's the house. I think the meter's right there, and it makes pretty much a beeline straight out.
straight out.
Okay.
There's
I mean, the
something
way you
out
were
here, like-
describing it, it's way up here, isn't it?
Their tie-in for the bond comes straight across and it comes out of like right about there and comes straight across
Okay,
also.
yeah, because this is showing it pretty much out by the street. I was surprised to see it that way. Okay.
But nobody really knows where it is, right?
Yeah.
Not really, I mean, we kinda traced it, it looked like
Oh, you
out
did?
of the barn it went straight across.
Okay.
And then knowing where it is in the house,
Yeah.
I mean, unless they hit some big rock they didn't wanna move, they would've ran straight.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that material's too bad up there. That's pretty good material, so.
Yeah. So they're looking to put up this building here, just a warehouse building. I think they said there's gonna be a bathroom, so that's really it. So there's not a lot of water use. So what they're looking to do, and we kind of flip-flop this idea. So we talked to the client about this. He's gonna put in a water meter here. There's already one here, and he's gonna put one here, and go with 3.
He's gonna feed them all off that one service?
Yeah.
So currently there's a piece of property for sale up there, there's the barn and, it looks like he bought a lot of wetlands versus,
Yeah, it goes all the way back. It goes
Yeah.
a ways back. So yeah, that's what he's looking to do. He's gonna have 3 meters going for now. He's been talking about a potential project further down the line.
If he sells him one of those buildings and he cuts it off, he's gonna have to put another service in for that building.
Okay.
He's gonna, because there's no way that we can bill 2 customers off of one line.
Yep.
I was
So what's
planning
for
on
sale?
getting to the second meter on the other side of the house. You said, right now, it's coming in over here. You said,
I'm betting, cause it's a slab, so I'm betting it runs alongside of the house and then turns in somewhere right back here, with the meter's back here somewhere, cause that's, it says it's a garage, and I remember going in those stairs.
So
It was
they're
pretty
taking the
much
house
back there
down?
somewhere.
No, he's keeping that.
So you're gonna leave that there and then just come off with a different,
Yep.
And
Just
run
tap
across.
onto that into here.
What's for sale up there now?
I think it's the barn.
Somewhere on, there's a print that
I thought
shows
it
the
was
different
keeping
properties, so the
He's
bottom,
keeping the barn, and I think he's just gonna just rent it out. I think that's what he's doing.
So it's not for sale then?
Yeah.
something for sale up there for something acres, and when, one of these sheets shows that on the separate lot, I thought. I could be very wrong, because I just briefly looked at it.
You know, if it is a separate lot, if it's broken out as a
Well,
separate lot, that's when we need to.
Yeah.
And then it
Put a
looks
separate
like it
tab.
goes right around the barn.
Yeah, that's the same. Well, yeah, and then the solar farms, right?
Yeah, the
Right
solar
there.
farms beyond.
Yeah.
So the barn is a separate lot?
Yeah, the barn's on one lot where the cell tower is.
Yeah,
And that's the piece, I saw the sign going by.
yeah, with
So
the
that-
cell tower, the property's really not worth much of anything, other than the rent from the
Did that just
tower.
recently get subdivided?
I believe so, yeah.
That's what went through the
point.
planning board that I saw.
Isn't that the point where we should have a separate tap there? Because I mean, they could sell it and
That's
it could be
what I
sold.
said.
Then what are you gonna do? Try to get
Yeah.
the next customer to do it?
Well, he told us it was all one property, but it turns
It's
out
not, though.
it wasn't. That,
not.
the
I mean,
planning
it
board
was,
minutes
but
were
It
right.
was, but it isn't anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, if we let it go now, next thing you know, somebody
Yeah.
else will own the barn and
Yeah, no, if he's gonna separate it, I think we ought to tell him that one there's gonna have to have a separate meter, for sure. Because if he's got a for sale sign on it, that's a different ballgame
Well,
now.
it's meter or a separate, whole separate service, because he was just
Whole
saying.
separate service
Yeah,
with a
all right.
meter and everything, so that the new owners,
have its own
Yeah.
curb stop,
independent.
you know, otherwise, you know, it never works out good,
No.
coming from somebody else's property.
Although if there's a subdivision on that, there's gonna need a line in it, they're not gonna feed it off a 3/4. Going
Yeah,
into the whole
exactly.
property.
Exactly.
Oh, they're putting another subdivision in up there?
Wasn't that what
No. No, I don't think, if there's a cell
Oh,
tower
that was just-
operating on the property, they probably have a long-term lease. They didn't put
Yeah.
that tower and they expect to take it down a year later.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
that property's pretty much locked up with that tower.
Yeah.
And that barn, I mean, you just have that front area behind the barn, that's where the horses or whatever there's a lot of livestock in there,
Yeah.
run around at. that's the only usable piece of property.
Is there a lot of animals in there?
Oh, there's a lot of animals.
Oh, yeah.
That's the industrial zone, right?
I believe
that must
so,
be,
yeah.
that lot must meet the industrial zone then.
It was, but I don't know if he flipped it back, or they've been flipping back and forth when the thing didn't take off for Horizon Beverages, and which it's to their benefit to keep flipping it.
I don't think you could do that. I thought, once it was there, it was there.
Yeah, it's still zone industrial, so.
It's all industrial? Yeah.
So that's what he wants to do right now, is the 3 meters. He can't make up his mind of what he wants to do on this property for the back, but he's thinking of developing the back portion.
But he bought a piece and he is now subdivided into 2 lots, is that correct?
This barn here and this lot are
Yeah.
in a separate. Yeah, so tell him, when he was here, he was gonna keep this all together.
Yeah, I don't
And
think
we-
he said anything about separating it out.
No, he said he wasn't gonna.
Okay.
So now that he's gonna do that, tell him he's gonna have to put another separate
A separate
service in there. And he isn't gonna be able to cut the street now till April, so, but if he sells it, it's gotta be done.
Yep.
Because we can't have that building running off a water line from over there.
Yep.
And that way the old one will be.
You know, the other
We won't
thing-
have to worry about it later.
This is gonna be a storm
Yeah,
drain,
it's-
you see that?
It's coming
that
right
water line's
across.
gonna go right
That
through
water line's
that.
going right through it now.
Yeah, that isn't a good,
With everything happening, this is the point where it needs to have its own curb stop, I think.
yeah. Yeah.
If he was keeping it one piece, it would be
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah, how far is he going down with that?
I see a lot of contours there.
Yeah. Yeah, he can dig right through it himself anyways.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, if he didn't have the livestock in there, he could surely cut the barn off and that's it. And then when he sells it, whoever buys it has to get a water service.
Yeah.
That's one option for him, and that doesn't cost him anything except to go out and dig it up and snip and tell the people they have to come over with a hose to get water from his house.
I think what he's thinking, where he owns both, he's charging them, right?
Right.
So, but
But if he sells it,
if he does sell it, he's gonna have to
It's
do that.
gonna need water, it's gonna need its own water.
and the person buying it's not gonna know the difference. They're gonna think it's all set, it's
Yeah.
not.
Which is kind of what he told us happened to him when he bought it.
It's exactly what happened to him.
So where does the buck stop?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that should, especially
He
too, where
subdivided,
it's
so
going
he should.
through that. They would probably lose it anyway.
Right. Yeah, he's gonna take it out when he puts in that drainage pit. It's there, and I'm sure it's not 10 feet down, it's,
Yeah.
Yeah,
And you're actually,
yeah, so this is what we're showing it here,
it's coming
so
from
if
here.
it's coming out
Is
here.
it down 5 feet?
yeah,
Yeah.
probably.
5 feet. Yeah, the water line's gonna be right on the surface of that probably.
So I'm gonna have to reroute it anyway.
Maybe a foot above that.
Yeah, who knows, because they just put that in themselves with no,
Yeah.
that could be a
Who knows?
Yeah,
3 or 4
there could be
feet down.
anything, pieces of whatever in there.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's gonna get,
Okay, so what do you here to inform us about, other than that?
We were here to inform you of what we're,
About the meter for the
Yeah.
for the other building where it's
Yeah.
gonna rent over there?
and that if we were gonna do this, we were gonna have to do this meter first.
Yeah.
I guess that's kinda,
If you got, I don't think we have any problem with you having 2 meters over there,
Yes.
right?
Unless those are 2 separate lots, but I don't think it is it at this point?
As long as that he owns both of
no,
them.
Right.
that's one lot
this is
still.
all one lot.
But where he separate this one have its
He
own.
just knows in the long term, he's gonna receive 2 separate water bills even though it's one water line.
We told him that he
Still didn't care, cause,
He wasn't
I mean,
worried
if he
about
just, they have single thing meter pits that just rise up, they're not a lot of money, and in the
and
long
then you
run,
can tap however many.
Is there, oh, so there's not a basement under that house, Wayne, so
No.
we can't meter at once and run a line to the
right,
garage?
the part that I was in was a slab, So I don't know, I'm thinking the rest
It
of the
is-
house is a
Looks
slab.
like a slab on
It is a
Yeah.
slab, yeah.
So what are they doing, tapping into the line, feeding the house,
Yes,
just teeing off it?
that's what he wants to do, yeah.
You're saying there's only gonna be like a bathroom in that?
Yeah, not a lot of use. Not use.
He's not making any money if all his workers are hanging out in the office having a good time.
Okay, so we're just gonna have him, put a new line into the barn. And we'll work with him to, if he makes a place for another meter there, we'll install a meter.
Alright.
So what do we wanna do, send him a letter that he needs to do a tap for the barn property?
You want us to send him a letter, or
I don't know how you guys typically
we could,
handle
I
this.
suppose we could do that. I think you ought to put it on the blueprints.
Right, should be shown on
Did
the
you
plan.
put it on the printer? Are you going to the,
Proposed water, new water connection.
yeah, are you going to, planning board or anything with this now, or
I
are
think
they all
that's
set?
I think that's all done.
Yeah,
That's
that's
all
through
done?
the planning board.
So we never got a set of these plans till now?
No,
That got subdivided, and we never got a set of plans?
no, I just saw it in the planning board minutes.
We don't typically get subdivision plans here?
Usually we,
We used
it's
to.
off and
We
on.
don't
It's-
anymore.
Sometimes we get them and sometimes we don't. It's been sporadic.
Can you follow up at the clerk's
Yeah.
office and see what's going on? Because wouldn't they turn in the same amount of copies as if
Should.
a site plan review?
So
For a
there
subdivision?
should be a copy that we could get.
Because something like that could get subdivided, if he wasn't here today, we'd never know. And it's too late to comment on it after somebody else buys it.
Yeah, I forget how this all came up. I've been here at this company for a month, so.
Hey, you go
Who
talk.
you with?
Oh, you were with Holmgren, right?
So, jumping in the middle of it, trying to piece it all together, so. So, we'll tell him that he's gonna have to do a new service for that.
Tell him he can come down and, well, we'll send him a letter, make an application, to get it done, and we'll, put it in after April.
Yeah.
But there's tie-in fees for that. So do you have his address, Kerry? You do? Okay.
Alright,
All right.
I think that's it for it. Alright, thanks guys.
Thank you. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
You too.
You too. Was there something else on that board there we were supposed to see? That was important?
Nope,
Oh, okay.
just other plans, I wasn't sure.
Okay. Okay. Next thing on the agenda, I guess, is the budget for next year.
What'd you do about 80 Ash Street? Or she just did so nothing?
Nothing, the bill was pretty close to what a normal bill would be.
Yep.
We didn't hear from her yet, so, but when the meter was read, it didn't
So she
seem
doesn't even know what it
too
is.
far out of line with what she usually uses, so we'll wait to hear from her, so we just kind of tabled it.
This is the budget as best as I can see it. Okay? Break out the Ouija board and hope for the best.
Okay, so what's our total number on this thing?
So we're up to 2141227, 2,141,227. So
Where's that number?
Third
Not the
page.
last page, but
Oh, I
yeah,
got
3
it.
pages in, because
Yep.
however they format it, I can't ever get it to,
Oh, it's just the other,
it's them, they don't want me to, because usually I break my sheet out of their big sheet, but I guess it gives them problems, so I'm not allowed to touch it this year, which is lucky, because I hadn't done it yet.
call today?
Yeah.
$2,141,000.
Okay, what's the yellow and blue?
So the, one is, so one is our IT lines, and the yellow is town. So the yellow and blue, I don't affect those numbers, the town does, and the town
Oh, all right,
is
that's,
still creating those numbers, so those numbers will probably change.
Those are numbers we don't have control
yeah,
over.
those
Right,
numbers,
I
we're
don't-
just stuck with whatever they give
Yep,
us.
I don't
Yeah,
have control over them.
Exactly. Because we buy those with the, through the fleet insurance and stuff
Yeah.
like that. They just tell us what we owe. And that, it's a big chunk of the budget. We really don't have that much control.
No, it is.
And, you know, just the lab work and the electric bill, those bills are just what they are. They don't have any choice in fuel too.
Principal and interest too.
Yep, principal and interest, that just rolls along.
Labor number, that includes what would be that new hire?
Yes, well, this, yeah, the new hire
The
and replacing the
replacement,
old guy,
yeah.
yep, yeah. So they're in there, plus it includes the GIS person, 30%. I took it out of the GIS line because it's really labor, it's not, so that's why that number jumps up like 28%. It's not that anybody got 28% raises, it's the fact that her number moved up into there.
No, that,
You don't see it, but it's
that
in
number's
there.
only up 9.5%
Is that,
labor.
which one was?
28 is.
28 is longevity.
Alright. Oh, 9, yeah, I'm looking at the wrong line. It's up 26,000. I can't see it, but that looks like a 6.
Yeah,
Yeah, alright, so I was looking at the wrong line. Yeah, it's up 9%, and that's
That-
because her
that's-
number moved up into there.
We got a number of guys that are moving up into longevity now, to jump 28%.
Nah, that's just me and Randy moving across.
Okay.
But it's a small number, so when it makes, it looks like a big number.
Yeah.
It's not.
Right.
Terry's getting closer.
Didn't we build yours into the, you are still
Not-
separate?
Not the longevity, that's
Not the longevity?
separate.
Okay.
we're still carrying 10 grand for GIS.
Yeah, so it still costs us money for, there are the licensing fees and if you buy equipment. So she's currently pricing out equipment for location equipment, which looks like it might be around, somewhere around $10,000 to $12,000. But I gotta ask her for its accuracy. I think it's under a foot, so once you get closer than that, the price jumps. It skyrockets like between 20 and 25,000.
And the idea with that is that would be sharing the cost of that with the others.
Yes,
that you
yep,
use.
30% would be out of,
All right.
So I just added up those numbers in the colored boxes there. That's half our budget.
yeah, no,
That's
it's
half.
truly it's the people part of it that's the biggest cost of the water. But if I mean, we're
But
having
we
issues.
don't have control. We don't have any
No,
control.
we don't really have control over it. That's,
We don't have any control over any of the labor or any of that stuff.
So we basically only have control over half our budget.
yeah. Even that, I can't
Not that
tell
we have a
you.
lot of control over that.
You don't have much electricity, when the pumps get turned on, they turn
No,
on.
that's why you see solar panels showing up on everybody's houses now, because electricity is getting real expensive. trees are gonna become scarce.
Okay, anybody have any questions on the budget or comments?
Just Holden Chemicals figuring that we're low this year because the water is just,
Right, our
Yeah,
use
it's
is
so low.
down, I'm hoping that it just stays, so we should be able to stay within that.
I came down for a couple days with Wayne and Curry, and we worked on trying to figure out where the surplus came from. And if you back out the sprinkler fees, is that this one?
Yeah.
Yeah. If you, the last year, the first year is 2017, is the last page. It's the last page of this thing there.
okay.
So, if you look at the subdivision tie-ins, that year you took in $46,342. So, that money there is supposed to be set aside for future expansion of the water department. System development tie-ins, the next one down,
Yeah,
the blue
the
one.
one that was 92,514.
Yeah, we brought in 92,514. That money there should be spent on the new wells, new land, new wells, or whatever. Anything to promote the expansion of the system.
So new source.
Yep. And then the next two colors down, sprinkler development charge, that one there, and that's 2017, we brought in $9,000. Somebody must have come in and paid us $9,000 for building a building and tying a sprinkler system in. And then the riser fees for that year were $97,043. So if you look down, 66% of the tank painting was $387,973. That's what it said in this book right here, the Finance Committee book, which is higher than the years after that. I don't know why we got hit with such a big bill that first year, but that's what it says in the book. So we actually didn't collect enough. The industrial customers were short 290,000. You see that right down here. So then in the next year, we raised the fees up in 2018. And we took in 291,000, 254,000. And between the Walnut Street tank and 66% of the tank painting bill for that year, the total bill there is $168,710. We generated 291, so we have a surplus of 104,000 from that. We didn't generate anything that year from the subdivision tie-in fees. There must have not been any subdivision started, but the lots that were tied in, we brought in $95,695. So that money there should be in that surplus we should be spending that on the future well. And then in the next year, 2019, they brought subdivision tie-in fees for $17,500. The tie-ins from the house lots for domestic water were $28,061. And then the sprinkler fees, tie-ins were $9,000. And the riser fees, we brought in $311,310. So the tank painting and the Walnut Street tank mortgage payments came to $209,000. We brought in $311,000, so we generated $101,666 in that year. So looking at that, other than the first year when we went in the deficit, what I was looking at is it was 205,000 that was extra from the industrial customers to that point. I would like to, if we get like $300,000 or $400,000 in surplus from them, I'd like to pay down some of that $1 million that we owe on the tank painting and try to get rid of that early, so we get rid of that payment.
Rid of the debt.
And our budget's huge. And if we could get rid of a lot of that interest on $1 million, even at 4% or something, it's still a good chunk of our budget. So, like to pay that down if we can. This year, looking at 2020, we've only collected, we only have the results of the 2 quarters. We don't have the last 2 quarters in here. So we know that we budgeted 66,000, 63,977 for the Walnut Street tank, and that we got to raise 154,000 for the painting of the tanks. So that's 218,000. We've already raised
228.
yeah, 228 plus 9. So we're already over, and then we got 2 more quarters to go. So that would give us more.
Well, that 228's got third quarter in it.
Yeah, how did the third quarter get in there without the other water rates in there? Do you know?
Somehow I think she pulled the report because she's still working on the meter reads, but the other thing is static. So it's
All right,
not
well,
that we need readings.
I wouldn't pay too much attention to that one there, but it should be pretty close to the the year before.
Yeah, they don't look like they.
They don't vary very
Yeah,
much
right,
from year to
right.
year. So, that would give us probably another $100,000 right there to pay down some more on that tank painting. So, we'll see maybe we should, I don't know what you guys' feelings are, but we got some money there where we could get rid of some of that debt and pull down the interest.
Because how much left do we owe on that?
We have $1 million, isn't it? That's 2017. Tank painting, here we go.
Shoot.
2020, right here, tank painting. 100 we owe $1 million, this is the outstanding, $1,036,000. So these are the 2 payments we'd have to make. And these here, 148.51, 26 and 9. Those are hefty payments because they have us on like 10 years. So the balance of this one's $1 million. The balance of this one's 300. So we owe 1,360,000, 390,000. Almost $1.4 million. Be nice to get some of that knocked down. We're spending $27,000 right now a year in interest. Let me get that down a little bit.
Were you checking in with them about something about how they were, remember last time we were looking at the numbers, it looked like some stuff was combined together?
Yeah, well, we separated
So
he broke it out for us.
Okay.
We kept asking questions.
Yep.
And then what we did is we had a meeting down here with the accountant, David Chaney, his assistant, who else? Everybody who had anything to do with the books up there. And what we asked them to do was to separate out our bonds and our interest so that they fall at the end of our budget, and then put the painting of the tanks and the Walnut Street at the bottom. So then we could take and have a subtotal that would include meters, bonds, and stuff like that are the responsibility of the operating budget. And then we know how much money we have to raise.
Yep.
And then the bottom line, those last few lines, we're raising them from these other fees. And then you know how much money extra you're raising every year that you can pay those
So-
down and
So
get
if
rid of
there's
them.
extra, if there's surplus, you know, not just the total number, but what goes where.
Right.
Exactly.
If we need to raise one rate or don't need to raise one rate, we have a better.
There'll be
idea.
10 lines that appear at the bottom. Some of the lines are just gonna be moved from above, like Manley Street will be moved down and,
But it'll just make it so everything.
yeah.
And then the other
easier to
thing
follow
is-
out.
We can explain the surplus to the finance committee because they think that we're overcharging the customers and that's where we get our surplus from, and it's not really. It's from these fees that we collect in advance of spending them. That's what it really is. Like when somebody comes in and builds a house and they pay us $3,000, we didn't plan on that. So we end up with all that money and it falls out of surplus. And then we can account for that every year.
Yeah.
Because right now, we had it figured that in this coming year, we're not gonna have enough money to cover the operating budget. We needed to raise the fee about $20 per customer in order to meet the budget. And you can't add that $20 onto onto the excess bill, because you don't know if they're gonna use it or not. If it rains, they don't
Yeah.
use it.
Which we
So,
found out this year. with
Right.
so
nobody-
we're probably gonna have to do $20 on the basic fee, because you get that anyways, no matter if it rains or not.
Yeah.
So, we'd be looking at about a $5 increase a quarter to meet the budget without being short. Because otherwise, we're spending surplus that we raised from these other fees that we
Which
put
we
on.
still need to pay the other things that we've already done. We've got,
Yeah,
we've got to pay that, it's almost $2 million.
yeah, we have to meet those other, the other bills, plus all the labor and
Yeah.
the electric bills and the mortgage for the meters and all that, 'cause that's all on the regular budget. But this way, if they're gonna give us new numbers is what they're gonna do for the mortgages.
Yeah.
And mortgages and interest, so they gave us like 8 new line items with new numbers. And they said they're gonna add it to the bottom of the budget, so we can separate it out. Well, so we can discuss later on how much we want to pay down the tank pay. We can't pay down the Walnut Street tank because that's a bond for 40 years, and he'd have to rewrite the whole thing, and it's very expensive. But he said the other one that we have on the tanks,
That's just a painting.
yeah, he said that
Short-term.
he could pay that one down without any problem, without any penalties or anything. So I thought that would be it.
13,000 was all we owe on. Well, there's two of them.
Yeah, there's 2 of them. We can put it all on, we can put it all on one and try to wipe one of them out if we want to, you know? One of them smaller.
That one.
Yeah, 400,000, we can almost wipe that one out and then work on the other one. Depends what you guys wanna do.
I mean, it makes sense while we have it to get rid of some of that.
Then it doesn't look like we're hoarding money
Well, no,
down.
that's the thing, is if somebody asks, well, what about the surplus? Well, it's tough to explain, these fees are done for that,
Right,
but we're not spending.
right.
And we're holding it, so if we should use it if we have it.
So you agree with that, Tom?
Mm-hmm. And then we'll get some stuff paid down and put some money aside for the next tank, maybe.
Yep, that's what I was thinking. In advance, it'd be nice to be able to put some money down, have it in an account.
It's
So
gonna
that-
be expensive next time.
Well, it'll be 3 at once. They'll all come due at the same time.
And it's gonna be a lot more than it was last time.
Yeah. Yeah, if you look over the years, you can see it.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
got astronomical.
Well, the 5 million gallon tank, we
Yeah.
paid more to paint it than they paid to build it. When they built that tank, it was only like, I think, $500,000 with the interest.
Yeah, but what year was that? I mean, come on.
Back in
70
Yeah, that's
60
long-
something.
Long
The
time
big
ago.
tank was 70 something.
Was it?
70 or so, 71.
Because the little tank was there first.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a long time ago. But I did, when I took over, I ended up paying off the last of that. But I was shocked when I saw when we painted it,
Yeah.
the bid that came in, it was more, the paint job was more than building the tank. So you're gonna end up with the same thing next time we go to paint it. All right. Any other questions on that?
No, I think that's, so we'll have that updated one.
I
soon,
think, it was my understanding we were gonna get it this year.
I don't think she's gonna change it, because they're,
Not this year?
no, because this is due tomorrow.
All right, so it'll be for next year.
It'll be for next year. I got an email that she assigned us new
Yeah, she
numbers,
did assign the numbers.
but the way it sounds, the way after talking to Wayne, it doesn't sound like we're gonna see it in this year's budget. But, so we're gonna have to break this out, explain it to the finance committee, where that surplus, the
Yeah.
total amount of surplus or where we generated it from.
But again, that's a good way to do it, that's pretty clear.
Okay, it's just, I want to be able to explain it. What's the next thing on the agenda here? Oh, the medical disposal. I went up again and I met with the administrator at the Life Care. And he has put those big gallon disposal things in all the med rooms. I guess each floor has med rooms where they go. The nurses have to go in a med room and get the
Yeah.
meds. And so they're all in there now. He doesn't just have a little bottle.
So
And-
each place they get the meds, they've got the disposal containers.
Yep. So, I'm gonna go over and see the animal hospital and the other one next. And, because I explained to him that he doesn't test the water, in those wells, and he'll probably have to redevelop them to ever take any water samples from them, because after 30 years, they're probably plugged up. I said, and we feel better with you disposing of your medicine this way properly and spending that money than developing the well to test for something that, we don't even know what we're testing for, so. He said he would, he did, he already has it in place. He said if we want to see it, he'd take us around and show us the things, so. All right. That was one good thing. I felt good that he actually carried through and got the big ones. Anything else in new business? I mean, the new business? Before we go home?
No.
Okay, old business, we have update on the replacement well?
I'm still waiting, the engineers came out, that's the last week I saw them, was taking more survey points. And that's currently with them, still back with the engineering firm again.
How about our water permit? How's that going?
So the water permit, so we found land, you can't use the farms. They did find the big parcel on the backside of the 40B on Scotland Street. However, David had an idea that there were other we don't see all the parcels they're taking in, but there were like 3 other parcels that met what we had to do for mitigation. So they worked with the engineer, and those are okay. So today I dropped off for the town to sign off on the new mitigation permit. So as soon as I get it back from the town, I've already signed it, they'll submit it in, and that should
So,
That was the only thing that
finish
was
it.
holding that
That's
up,
the only
right?
thing that was holding it up.
so what kind of lots are these? They're landlocked or?
I think, I didn't really look at them. When they come back, I'll take copies of it, but there were smaller lots, so that if we need mitigation in the future, well, then that big lot's still sitting there.
Well, that's good.
And there was enough of the little ones that
Yeah.
it added up to enough.
Yep.
needed.
How about update on the new water source?
That's still waiting on us to finish with our water permit. So that hasn't moved anywhere currently, which is good. We're not getting any bills because you just received a bill for the work they've done on the mitigation. That's why I upped the engineering line. It seems like every time we do anything with them people, it's 5,000 here and 5,000 there.
Not like the old days.
So there's no movement on that.
Replacement vehicle?
So I got a quote from Donovan, which was a lot more than Nat-Fied. So I met with the girl from Jana, and we'll move forward with that. That's $15,000 for the body. The truck, I think, is $5,000. So I think we'll be looking to borrow, when we take away the insurance, it'll be about $40,000 spread over 3 years.
The Jane is the one in Rhode Island?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
you're sure she's
Yeah,
knows
so
what
I,
you want? and
Yeah,
you weren't convinced?
yeah, she
so I-
finally showed up here. Of course, she was like 2 hours late, but she showed up, and yeah, I felt confident. And then I worked with MHQ to make sure that the specs, you need the cab to wheel is an exacting number. So I sent that off to him, and he got back to me.
So what are you buying?
So it's a 1-ton pickup with the bed removed. It has the XL package because it gives you the power windows, power locks, and something else.
Single rear wheel?
Yeah, it's a single rear wheel 1-ton. And it'll come with the bed off of it, and then Jana will put on the medium height cab on the back.
Is it four-wheel drive?
And it'll have 4-wheel drive.
Are you gonna plow? Are you gonna plow?
It has the plow prep package. I do not like my vehicles going out plowing because it just rots the crap out of them.
Right. Okay.
And they don't have enough, I think they have more vehicles than they have people now, so I don't think that's an issue for the town.
Any other discussions that could be brought up?
Well, I'm not finished.
Oh, okay.
So Samuel Ave, turns out there's no IMA in place with the town currently for the 2 houses that are tied in back there
Where is this?
on Samuel Ave.
There's no what?
Intermunicipal agreement for us to be selling their water.
That line's been there since,
We're getting numerous.
That's this one?
Yep. We're getting numerous yellow water complaints, and my best guess is it's Station 1 pushing out, and maybe it's the big transmission line that goes across. I don't know where the yellow water's coming from, but you get slugs, and I believe the people, they're obviously seeing it, but when we go out to flush, we're not seeing it, so I think it's moving slugs of water around the system. But either way, so that if you hear about
So
it,
they
we are
chase them.
flushing, but I have to pick hydrants that aren't gonna hit the street. It was 10 degrees this morning. No matter what, it was 10 degrees in that street. I don't care if it was 40 above.
Yeah.
That street was 10 degrees, and if I put 50,000 gallons of water on it, you've got a skating pond and a whole pile of accidents, even if I have a solver sitting there.
What area of town? Getting
It's
the
random,
complaints.
it's moving about.
It's all
not-
over the place?
I mean, yeah.
I stopped at Corner Mark on the way here, and Neil Conley was in there. He was asking me about yellow water, and what he's talking about. I said, it happens once in a while.
I don't look on the hub, but I guess they're
yeah,
talking about out there, but I don't.
I got a couple of calls, and I don't have, not on Facebook, but they tell me on Facebook, everybody's complaining about the yellow water.
That's the
Right.
first
What-
I've heard of it.
What I wanted to ask you is, when we switched to C5?
That's been in effect for more than a year now. So
I know, but have you tested to see how much iron we're sequestering? And The other thing is, I noticed that the chlorine, I could smell it.
So I have to have the chlorine up because I've lowered it down thinking that we might be taking it out of, also it's an oxidant, so it might be removing the iron and it's dropping out of solution.
Yep.
So I've dropped that down since the temperature dropped. But remember, we were warm right up until suddenly bang, we're 10 degrees. But I had issues. I didn't pass a coliform test. If I miss another coliform test within the year, that gives me a level 2 survey. And at some point, I might be forced to raise my chlorine levels far exceeding what you taste or smell now, far exceeding it. And that'll be mandated. I won't have a choice in that. It'll be mandated.
But that time you got the bacteria hit, you
Yeah.
had one count.
There was
wasn't-
one count, but it was in 3 spots. I had 3
I
hits.
thought
I
it
had
was in
3
one
separate
spot.
hits, so each one, they weren't large counts, they were under 10, but I took it in 3 spots, and they were all centered right around North Elm and the tanks. So it was clustered in an area, but if I don't keep the chlorine up and I start failing it, they're gonna mandate that I have a residual out there of 2.0. Right now, I'm running under 1. I'm usually right around 0.5. And it drops off as you go out in the system, but I'll be mandated to have 2.0 somewhere out in the system at the far points. That means closer in you get, it's gonna be so much worse. So it's not that we just turn it on and walk away and I keep the same amount. I try to keep track of the temperatures, but when you go up to 60 degrees in the middle of winter, it's hard to, you know, usually the temperature drops and so you start ramping the chlorine down, but it hasn't. It just suddenly dropped, the temperature dropped off.
But the tank water and the 5 million gallon tank, that, unless it's summertime, that's not gonna warm up. Not this time of year.
That's where I fail. I fail in the big
Yeah.
tank
Yeah, but
because I can't turn it over. You've got 5 million gallons of water and I vary the level by 5 feet any time the pumps come on. It's not using it.
so that gives us more reasons to put that UV light we were talking about up there, so we don't have to have the chlorine and the water going in and out of those 2 tanks should be going through a UV light, because that would just solve the problem of chlorine and the taste, the
So
odor.
if you don't have a residual out in the system, you're gonna go out into pipes that are steel, you know, most of the pipes have iron in them.
That,
And you're gonna fail for an iron bacteria on a coliform hit, and then you're gonna be mandated to chlorine, even if you have the
but
UV light.
we did it for 20, 30 years.
Yeah, and you were allowed then to have a hit.
No, we weren't. We weren't allowed in it.
Alright, they didn't change, alright, fine.
It was 0.
Yep.
We had
All right.
0, and we used
All
to
right.
stay at 0.
Yep.
So, they didn't change that rule. That rule's been in effect for a long, long time.
Alright, I don't know what I'm talking about, but I'm telling you that if I fail again,
I know exactly what you're saying, but I'm saying, make sure that the UV lights that we have are working, and I think that we should look at putting a UV light up there at the tank. If you're having all the problems and you get the bacteria hits around the Spring Street tank, then the tank's gonna be a problem. Usually, if you're getting bacteria, and as you're raising up the chlorine level, you are gonna bring the discoloration of the water up, because you're gonna oxidize the iron. Because that's why we're putting the C5 in. Have you tested the water to see?
not this
if there's-
year,
Huh?
not this year.
All right, well, why don't you have that guy that, we spend enough
So
money
he wants
with.
us to test it ourselves. He wants us to buy a tester. We can test it, but he wants us to test it ourselves.
All right,
And they
so
sell
How much
orthophosphate
is the
testers.
tester?
Probably just under 10 grand.
Well, tell him to do it, because we buy all the stuff from them. They always used to do it. We spend enough money with them. We never paid anybody to test it. If you spend, $50,000 a year on chemicals, they should be able to do 2 or 3 tests a year. We always used to get them done, and they never charged us for them. So tell them we're not spending $10,000 on 3 tests. So tell him you get the bottles from them and send them the thing and see if it's working. There's no sense of spending the money if it's not working. We're getting all the dirty water complaints. Let's get it done. Anybody got anything else?
Just on that, or do you have any other issues that?
No, I don't have, that's
Any
it.
at all? Okay, I just didn't know if you were,
No, other than the
Stuck
job,
with it.
I'm not getting any more resumes on our job. The people that did send in that I reached out to, only one replied back, and it'd just be hiring another person that we have to train.
you know, on that line, I did talk to Gagny about the issues with, you know, changing the advertisement or how you set the thing up.
Yeah.
He said basically it's just you want a more skilled person unless we want to sit down and decide to do something like an assistant superintendent and go, you know, outside of the union, hire the whole, make it a manager do and be a lot more money than we're talking about. All we can do is what you've been doing and
Our guys don't do the same as the DPW. We don't mow lawns most of the summer. We don't plow, I mean, we plow snow, but we do incredibly different things on a highly technical scale. It's not even all of them. It's not, and the more they learn, the more technical they become. Most of the other towns are paying way more than we're paying. It's not like but I'm not showing you the job ads with 6 figures for the fun of it. I'm telling you what's happening to the water industry.
none of the guys we have want to take,
So I can't teach what,
okay.
I can hire 2 laborers, that's what they'll be.
No,
But I'm gonna stop doing all the stuff I'm doing, because I just can't do everything. So when things break, and they're pretty much 50% or better broken right now.
No, so the reason we added that was not for you to hire a laborer with it, it's to get somebody, if we have to change however we do it, to get somebody that can take that.
Right, and I've been
That's
reaching
the
out, and I
point.
can't get them to, but I'll continue to reach out when I have time again.
What was the pay rate we're offering?
I think we begin probably right around 45, or right around 45, so it's like 45 to 51 maybe.
So it's like around 24 an hour.
Yeah, I think you started in the high 24s.
But then that's, can go up if they have licenses.
Right, and if they have
On top of
licenses,
that.
then you add in
Yeah.
the stipend pay.
Not the foreman, what's the top rate?
I think it's $30 an hour.
And what's the other towns pay, what's Easton
Well, Easton pays more than us.
I know,
I might
you
know
know
what.
and, huh?
They pay a lot more than us.
Well, how much?
But Brockton pays a lot less, so it just averages out. It's not, you just worry that if you train somebody, if you get somebody good and you train them,
Yeah, I know, then they go somewhere
they're gonna
else.
go somewhere else. I
For
guarantee
more
it,
money.
because you can make 6 figures.
Well, that's why I was asking you, what's Easton paying, because that's what's happened before, they go over to Easton.
They're probably up there, I wanna say that their laborers are about $30 an hour.
Okay,
So you say they
so,
were having trouble getting people too?
Not Easton, they have a they're replacing, I think, a superintendent, so, but it's somebody in-house. I sat in a class with them. It's pretty much somebody in-house is gonna get the job. It's not that they're having issues there, it's just, but Bridgewater, I think, has 2 postings that they haven't filled in forever, and
yeah.
there are quite a few towns with
A
unfilled
lot
postings.
of towns have got openings that they can't fill. That people just aren't getting, they don't have the
It's
licenses.
not, right, it's hard to get the licenses, it's not.
Yeah, not making it easier.
No, they've made it, they went out of it, I asked, and they actually are going out of their way to make it harder. They're trying to change the profession and the people that are in it.
Anything else?
No.
That's it?
Yep.
All right, good. Tom? Okay, our next meeting will be,
February 3rd.
It's gonna be a regular Monday.
So,
right.
Yeah, February 3rd.
Until the 3rd one, this next one
Yeah.
after that.
February 3rd. Okay, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.